Hello world, this is Edward Bevilacqua from Ciao Tutti magazine and the Italian American Club in Las Vegas. And we had the good fortune of calling Jon Castagnino to come in from Fox 5 to give me some lessons.
Sure.
I had to run this thing.
We got you set up here.
Yeah, we've got the lighting right and the chairs right. So Jon, thank you for taking some time out of your day. I know you're just about to get started at work, right?
I am, yeah. No, I appreciate you, and it's an honor for me to be sitting down with you and talk about my heritage a little bit.
Thank you. So where we usually start is your Italian roots.
Well, my Italian roots. Now, I'm not the typical, Italian growing up in, New York or Chicago or, that traditional
you grew
city.
up in the new epicenter.
Yeah, exactly. Las Vegas, which, is now becoming a hub for Italian culture, really. So I'm one of the very few Las Vegas natives out here.
Okay.
And I'm 35, so, I'm not too young. I'm not too old. So there's not a lot of me, this age out here in this city. So
wait a second. So the question, I understand that when people say, I am from here.
Yeah.
The first question you ask somebody who's from here is what?
I ask them how long they've been.
Okay, and they say, I grew up here.
Yeah.
And what is the second question?
Then they're a local. Then I just say, oh, you're a local.
Okay, so, you don't say, where'd you go to high school?
No, I just say you're a local.
That's the normal thing I get from people. So where'd you go to high school?
Yeah, that's a normal question, don't get me wrong, but I say anybody that's lived in this city for more than 10 years, you're kind of officially, you're part of the club.
Now, do you know Bill Young? You know who that is?
Sure.
Okay. Yep. He is fourth generation Nevada.
Yeah, which is insane. I mean, how many people can say that?
Yeah, his kids are fifth generation.
Yeah.
Going back to before Nevada was a state.
Yeah, very rare that I think I met one person that was born out here in the 40s, and that's the oldest person that I've met.
Okay, who's that?
I couldn't tell you. I don't remember.
Do you know Count Guido Dero?
No.
Okay, so he's a guy. I think he was born in Reno. He's in his 70s, but very colorful. He's an actual Italian count.
Mm-hmm.
We have some stories in here about him. He was a pilot for Howard Hughes. But anyway, we're here to talk about.
Oh, okay.
So your roots.
So born and raised in Vegas, and I guess my roots here are knowing the first thing about Italians is that we're not yelling, we're just talking.
Okay, but wait a second.
Loud house.
What part of Italy? I should have been more clear.
Yeah, Naples and Calabria.
Okay, good. So
that's
a lot of people, have you been there?
Haven't been there. Would love to go. My parents have never been there. But as far as, how we arrived in Las Vegas, it was my great-great-grandparents that immigrated to Chicago. So they were in the Chicago area. And then my father, born out there. And then eventually what happened to arrive in Las Vegas is that my father, they're going to laugh when they see this, but my father broke off the wedding with my mom like 3 times. Okay, they were supposed to get married in Chicago. Right.
Okay. Your dad broke it off.
Yeah.
Not your mother.
Dad, and he got a lot of people on my mom's side a little upset.
And that's not a good thing.
Right. But one day, I guess.
She's not Sicilian, right?
No. She's mom's a little bit more German.
Okay.
But one day.
Are you half Italian, half German?
I did the calculations. I'm 7/8 Italian.
Okay.
Just a little bit of German. Okay. That's where I get the blue eyes from. I don't know if you can pick it up on there, but
not on there. I think our light's not strong enough. The lens is too small.
So Dad one day said, "Hey, I'm going to Vegas. Either come with me or don't." And Mom said, "If I go with you to Las Vegas, we have to get married."
Okay.
So they came out to Vegas. They got married out here, and then slowly, everybody's been trickling to meet us in Vegas.
And nobody's in Chicago anymore?
We've got a couple out there.
Holdouts?
Yeah, aunts and uncles.
Okay.
They're still there, but most of the family immigrated, so to speak, from Chicago.
They came to the new country.
Into Las Vegas. So that's it. So really, my culture and how I was raised was just based a little bit slower, maybe, because I didn't have that full Italian family around me when I was born. But as time went on. Right, okay. Exactly. So
what did your dad do?
Dad's been a bartender at the Mirage since it opened. Yeah,
wow.
So a long time.
Okay. A lot of stories.
A lot of stories, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of athletes, a lot of famous people that he's met.
And how did that help you with your career?
Well, I wish Dad would have helped me a little bit more get my career started.
Yeah.
No, I get... Actually, an interesting story, and it doesn't help my career, but something interesting is that when I first got into television, people wanted to change my last name, and I was
I can understand why, because
adamantly against it. Yeah, it was just too lengthy and hard to pronounce. And,
okay.
It's just a silent G.
Yeah,
it's just a silent G.
You can't just say to people it's a silent G.
Yeah.
Because your brain wants to figure out how can I squeeze that in.
Right. It's a little lengthy. So that's kind of, that's something that I've
Did
kind
they
of.
ever say just, well, if it's silent, why don't we just delete it?
No, they never said that.
Okay.
Maybe
What
they
would
just,
you have said?
maybe they just stopped caring at that point. Maybe I would have went with the no G. That might have made it easier, but I would never deny, my last name,
Okay.
because that's how strongly I feel about it.
Okay. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
So your dad is still there?
Still there. Yeah.
Wow.
70 years old. He's still plugging away.
Did you guys ever talk about new trends in the bar business?
In the bar. Well, I'm waiting for him to make me some good cocktails. He usually doesn't. No,
That's
work
usually
stays at
happens.
work, and I'm kind of the same way. Work's at work. And then when we're family time together, we enjoy, our time together. We don't really talk shop.
Okay. Now, for our audience out there, what exactly do you do for Fox 5?
It's what I don't do for Fox 5.
You do everything.
Really, yeah. And basically, I
So
write.
you know how to do the camera.
Yeah,
the
I
lighting.
shoot, edit, write, report, anchor, really anything that they need me to do except run the station.
Why can't you do that?
Exactly, that's above my pay grade.
Oh, you can do it. It's just,
Maybe I could.
you
Yeah.
say you draw the line at that.
Yeah, but no, I basically do everything. So a lot of people think that a job on air is just showing up on TV, and that's
It's not.
that's your day. That's probably 10% of my job. Really, the majority of it is when I get into the office. I'm assigned a story, or we'll have a
You
meeting.
get into the office, you say
Yeah.
to the secretary, can I have a cup of coffee? No,
I wish
that's
we
on
had
just
one.
TV.
Yeah, no, that's just TV. I go to my desk. I got emails backed up.
Oh,
And then I usually do a little research, on whatever story I want to pitch. So we'll have a meeting, and then after the meeting, I'm assigned a story, and then it's all on me. I got to, set up the interviews, go out there, you do the interviews, and actually, you're under a constant deadline, basically. So you got to get the interview shot by a certain time, let's say, 6 or 7 o'clock at night.
okay.
Then you come back, I've got to write it within an hour, and then the editor or my photographer.
What do you mean write it?
I've got to piece it together. I pull the sound bites, from the interviews.
Oh.
Yeah.
You don't do it like
So,
this. It's stream one time, one shot.
I wish. So if we did, if we turned this into a story, right, I'd take the whole interview and then I'd pull out the sound bites that I liked. Hopefully I'm giving it.
So you got to listen to it again.
Right. Listen to it again. You have to type it out. And then
Why do you type it? What are you typing?
For closed captioning, you have to have script.
Oh, wow.
Right. See, there's a lot. There's a lot more, Ed, than what people would think.
Yeah.
And it's
It just seems like it all happens.
I don't spend a lot of time talking about it because it'd take forever to explain it.
Okay.
Yeah. But our day is a lot more than
It's a
just
lot.
yeah.
So that's what you say. It's more than you can imagine.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I said, I'd say about 10 to 20% of my job is being on air. The rest of it is behind the scenes. And there's a lot of work that goes into it.
And there's different types of interviews, right?
Sure. Yeah, well, I like the fun ones. I don't like the serious ones. This one's fun.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So that's 2 points. You kind of got the lighting right.
Yeah, but then we have interviews where, if we're talking to somebody who just lost, a husband or a son or a child, some people that don't want their faces shown, there's a wide range of interviews and I guess techniques that you would use.
And where did you learn those?
It's just really the best way to learn them is to do them.
I see.
Yeah, you go to college, and I went to UNLV here, and you get your broadcasting degree, but it only prepares you for a real, news job.
So once you got that, how long did it take you to get a job? Or did you do an internship?
It took me a year and a half after I graduated from UNLV, and I sent out, back in that day, we sent out VHS tapes with your resume, and that wasn't that long ago. That's like 11 or 12 years ago.
So now they just send a link to a video?
Right.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Times have changed. Just in the short time I've been in TV for a little over 10 years, like 12.
Okay. And are these ones that people send in? Do they edit them?
Yeah. Those have to be edited. They're just short clips of you doing a live shot or a stand up or an interview. It's pretty short. We call it a montage.
Okay.
So you send them that, and then hopefully within 30 seconds, the boss, the news director, likes what he sees, and then they'll give you a call.
Now,
obviously, they didn't like me because it took a year and a half for me to get a job at. So no.
So what do you look for in that first 30 seconds?
You've got to be engaging, and you have to be entertaining, and you have to have the voice, the look, everything. It's
how important is it to look in the camera?
You see me doing it every once in a while. Well,
it's an important.
You want to reference your audience. I mean, you don't want to ignore them. So you want them to know that you're here and around and waving at them. Hi, everybody who's tuning in. So that's an important piece. Sure, absolutely.
Okay. So, did you ever have a problem with that? Looking in the camera? I kind of feel awkward looking in the camera.
Well, that was probably the hardest thing for me getting used to this job, is just being comfortable in front of a camera.
Okay.
Now I'm way more comfortable,
Because
staring
you don't
into
get
that.
feedback or what?
Exactly, because there's public speaking I get a lot more nervous for.
Really?
Because you're getting, if you tell a terrible joke and nobody laughs.
Right.
But if I tell a bad joke right now, I don't have any feedback here, so it can be horrible.
It doesn't bother you.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me at all.
When did you first decide you wanted to get into TV?
I'm a Cubs fan.
Okay.
And that was unfortunately until like this season, they're finally good. But Harry Carey growing up, and I love that job and that, I guess, being able to do that. Because I'm not the tallest guy, the biggest guy. I mean, I played a bunch of sports as a kid, but all the kids told me I wasn't big enough or wasn't fast enough, and I listened to them. So I stopped playing sports, and I figured the best way for me to be involved is to be a play-by-play guy. Oh yeah,
Okay.
no, love it. Yeah.
And have you done that?
A little bit. So at Fox,
It's a lot different than what you do, or is it pretty much the same?
I guess it's not scripted, so it would be different if you were doing
Okay.
play-by-play. I mean, that's more off the cuff, ad-libbing.
Okay.
Where on the news side, you prep a little bit more. But I anchor sports on the weekends at Fox, and then weekdays I do news. So I do both.
Okay.
So I'm doing a little bit of that.
So do you remember the first day that you thought, hey, I kind of like this? Like the first Harry Carey thing, or did it kind of grow on you?
No, it was when SportsCenter started, and SportsCenter became this big deal,
I see.
in the '90s, and you had
Okay.
Dan Patrick and all those guys, Olbermann, and
What about the guys from Monday Night Football?
Sure, I mean,
Howard
but
Cosell,
I
things
think
like
of
that.
SportsCenter. I love
Okay.
SportsCenter because they were funny and goofy and entertaining, and I really enjoyed that. And I
Okay.
think that at that point, that was the time where I'm like,
Was
okay,
there
I
like
want to
one
make a
day
career out of
that you
this.
said, I want to do this?
Well, there was a day that I doubted that I could do it, and I said, there's only so
Like
many
when
people
was
that this was in high school,
Okay.
and I
You
couldn't remember
doubted
the
whether
exact
you
day.
could do it?
Yeah, well, because there's only one Harry Carey. There's only so many people that can get a job in television.
Okay.
So I said, well, the odds are against me, and I went into more of the like physical therapy, like sports medicine kind of deal,
Okay, 'cause
and
you
I
like
did that
sports.
in college. Yeah, and then that got a little too hard for me. The grades were okay, but then I said, you know what, forget it. I'm going to go back to what I really want to do, and that way I made the switch back in college, and I've been gung-ho about it ever since.
Okay. And you just pursued it.
Yeah.
And you like it more every day.
Love it, yeah.
Has there ever been a bad day?
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, bad days. And it's usually centered around technical problems, or
Okay. Yeah,
technical
that's
problems.
The bane of welcome to my world.
Yeah.
With the internet.
You're only as good as your technology. So that happens a lot. You're constantly under deadline. So you might be on a breaking news story where there's a shooting or a stabbing or whatever, and you arrive on scene, and then you're live in 5 minutes.
And do you have?
Yeah.
Is there jostling with the other stations?
Sometimes, but we're usually pretty good about
Collegial.
that. It's not like East Coast, hardcore,
Okay.
loud voices and yelling and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
We're very
microphone.
cordial with each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, what do you think about Las Vegas compared to other places?
I love it. And people, it surprises me, and I'm sure you've been around long enough to know. People either
Only 4
love.
years.
Okay. Well, people either love or hate Las Vegas, and I think you've
Okay.
kind of picked up on that maybe while
Yeah.
you've been out here.
I don't see many people who hate it.
Yeah.
Because I think they kind of tend to leave.
Yeah, I guess so. I just don't know why they don't like this city. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hot.
It's hot, but how much time do you really spend
Right,
outside?
exactly. No, I love it here. And everything in Las Vegas to me is normal. So when I go to,
Okay,
a
right.
different city and I don't see slot machines in grocery stores or in convenience stores, that I'm thrown
It's like,
for a loop.
yeah,
I'm like, what's going on here?
Right.
Yeah, no. So everything in this city is normal. So I mean, everything about it, the strip, the glitz, the glamour, the gorgeous
24
buildings.
hours.
Yeah. And some people hate going down to the strip as locals. I love going down there because where else can you get the shopping and the dining
Yeah.
and really the beautiful, facilities and structures that we have out here.
Yeah.
I moved away for about 2.5 years,
To where?
Wyoming, and then
Wow.
to South Texas. Those were my first 2 TV jobs.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a change
So
of
that
pace.
was a big difference.
Oh yeah, and I mean I was in Texas working there, and I loved covering high school football. That's big out there. But I reached a point where I was homesick, and when you can't get a meal past 10 o'clock anywhere.
When you're used to being able.
Yeah,
to
that was the worst part about it. And I said I got to get back home. So
And how was the weather?
weather.
How did you feel about the weather?
Wyoming was freezing, like negative 30 degrees one day with the wind chill, and I'd be driving around the state to cover high school football there, I mean, every Friday night I'd be driving all day.
Okay.
Blizzards, antelope on the roads everywhere, be white knuckling it the whole time, and it was god awful.
And so you
and I'm surprised I lived through it. I'm surprised I lived through it, honestly. I made it through, and then when I got to Texas, weather there was just hot and muggy all the time. They have humidity, and I hate that, so I'd rather be in Vegas. But high school football was big out there.
What's your favorite sport?
Favorite sport to watch is baseball by far. Again, I'm a struggling Cubs fan. They're good this year. Favorite sport to cover out here. I mean, Vegas is the greatest sporting event city in the world. So you want to talk about, again, great things that are drawn to this city, like the melting pot that we have and a culture that we have out here. What other city has championship boxing, UFC, NASCAR? Team USA basketball was just in town. The NBA Summer League, the PGA
What do you think
Tour.
about, is hockey coming? What's the latest on that?
I think it's coming. We're just waiting for a vote by the owners. Okay. They need to pass it with 2/3 of the owners, and I don't see why they wouldn't, because the potential owner, Bill Foley, who's a great guy, he's putting up $500 million to get a team into the league. So what owner would turn that down?
The other owners get a cut of that.
Right. Yeah. What owner would turn down, $20 or $30 million, whatever it is?
Yeah. And it's certainly going to bring visibility to the NHL.
Absolutely. And to those teams that travel here. I mean, if you're a fan of Montreal or Toronto or whatever team, Chicago even, you're going to want to make a trip to Las Vegas.
Well, I think you're going to make a trip. I think if you're here on a convention and your team comes to town, what would be better than taking people to a hockey game?
Yeah, absolutely.
And most of the people who are here weren't here. They didn't grow up here, right?
Right, yeah. It's worldwide exposure for the NHL. Yeah. I mean, you're going to get people from all over the globe coming to Las Vegas to see a hockey game, and people that aren't hockey fans that are in town and they don't have anything else that they'd rather do. It's going to be a tough ticket to get when this team finally shows up.
Las Vegas is one of the 7 great cities of the world. Yeah. Agree or disagree?
Oh, amen to that. I mean,
okay, why do you say that?
Well, I think for all the if I wasn't from here, that's a harder question.
Well, I'm saying, so your personal bias doesn't fit in.
Yeah.
Why would you say one of the 7 great cities of the world?
Well, I think it's where else can you go to get what we have here, and the only city that I've traveled to overseas is London, and that's a great city. That's historical.
But they don't build stuff like they built here.
It's a little stuffy. I mean, Vegas isn't stuffy.
Well, nobody's going to say Vegas is stuffy.
Yeah, you come out here and you have a great time.
I'm going to say that. That's one thing nobody's going to say.
When you're on the Strip, again, it's the dining, it's the food, it's the experience, and it's all in one area, and it's the shopping. Yeah, right. Which is, again,
people come from Italy. I've talked to people from Italy. They go into the Venetian and they say, wow, this is really, we don't feel embarrassed coming in here. This is like a tribute to Venice.
Yeah, Venetian by far is my favorite, though. I mean, it's gorgeous with the paintings on the ceiling, and Palazzo's great.
Palazzo's part of that?
Sure. I mean, I consider them 2 separate entities,
you do. Okay.
But I mean,
I think of them as the same.
Yeah. And why is that?
Well, because they're connected.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Yeah, that's.
I mean, connected is kind of a stretch, right? Because it's like a mile. Mm-hmm. It's not really a mile, but it's a long walk.
It is a long walk, that's for sure. Yeah, no.
So what Italian restaurants do you like?
It's a little bit before your time.
Okay. Carluccio's
was the place, and anybody that's been in town, for more than 10 years knows about Carluccio's.
Okay. But they're gone?
They're gone. It was right next to the Liberace Museum. Okay. They said it was haunted. And then I guess, but I never saw any ghosts or anything. Okay. But they used to have like twinkling lights in the ceiling. They'd have a little fountain in there, and that was our place. Okay. So that's where we went. That's where I got the full-blown Italian experience.
I see.
Okay. Carluccio's.
What about nowadays?
Nowadays, I'm looking for a new place. I think ever since Carluccio's left, I haven't really found some place that I could call home with my family.
You just want to.
Yeah.
Now you probably haven't been to the club.
Haven't been to the club, I know, which is shocking.
Well,
and disappointing.
The club, we deal with a lot of clubs around the country, and the problem is there's so many things to do.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's hard to get people to go to a club.
Mm-hmm.
But we were lucky. Our club's 55 years old. We were lucky about 4 or 5 years ago to get Jim Gerard and Ben Spano, who've been in the restaurant business, the Tap House, Fellini's, Salvatore's, to come into the club and say, we'll turn this thing around. And this year, I don't know if you knew this, but it was the Review Journal best.
Yeah, I was told. See,
yeah.
Let's give it to our audience here. Best. This is a big deal out in Vegas when you get a Best of Las Vegas.
And this was the critics' choice, not the readers' choice.
Okay. Yeah.
And so it's great, but the problem is we've got almost 700 members, mostly professionals now, business people, whereas before, like when you were growing up, it was more of retired union guys that moved here.
Yeah.
So it was like a VFW walk. And, where they'd go and, place to go during the day. Now it's completely different. It's really, it's known as the swankiest club on the planet. So we did, and I know that Angela Casaro, our president, has invited you there. And
I still need to get work clearance to be there.
Really?
But when because I work.
Oh,
I work
that's right.
those nights.
That's right. Yeah.
So.
Okay. Now, what about Ferraro's?
I've been to Ferraro's. Love Ferraro's.
Okay.
That's great.
Which side of town do you live on?
Grew up in Green Valley, so east side.
Oh, okay.
Then lived on the west side for a little bit. Now I'm back kind of in central. Central.
Did you go down to Green Valley Ranch?
Sure. Yeah, we were there the other night actually.
Tony Gemignani's?
Yeah, Pizza Rock is very good.
So you kind of like his game, right? Kind of reminds you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he was one of the last interviews you guys did, Tony.
We did him. Well, we've done 75.
Yeah. Okay.
And we're just trying to get it right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now that I know how to do the lighting, I think they'll be better.
He
was good. And last Friday was Sheriff Lombardo.
Okay.
Who writes for the thing. But how about Nora's?
Nora's. Haven't been to Nora's.
Okay.
I've heard great things about Nora's.
Nora's is good.
See, now here's the thing, Ed, is that I work nights and weekends.
So that makes it tough.
Monday, Tuesday nights off. It's not the most happening time to go out and on the
town.
No,
that's true.
Yeah.
And you probably want to be home with the family.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you don't get to be home with them.
Yeah.
Otherwise.
That's very true. Yeah.
Okay. So then I have to think of, but you start like around 2, 1?
Yeah, usually I'm at the office by 2. 2 to midnight is basically my block. So I put in about 10 hours.
So what time did you get up in the morning?
As late as possible.
Okay.
Yeah, but when you got a 2-year-old in the house, that's a little difficult. Although he sleeps till like 9, which that's good. That's very good. Yeah. So I'll take that as opposed to 6 a.m. I don't know if I'd be able to function if he was up at 6. So.
Yeah, that would be kind of tough.
Yeah.
And your job, you probably come home mentally tired sometimes.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you're under deadline.
Yeah. Constant
a lot
deadlines.
Of stuff you have to do. A lot of moving parts.
It's taxing, but just like any other job, and not to compare what I do to anything that's like law enforcement or I mean it's the same. It's the same kind of stress where you have to forget about the stories. Where I've seen plenty of murders, and I've seen plenty of bodies, and maybe I don't see as much as police does, but I hear the terrible stories, and I see
you get
families.
Called out on them. Yeah. Every police officer doesn't get called to every story.
Right, and that's true. That's true.
You've probably seen more than most police.
There was one last week where somebody was killed out in a parking lot of a Walgreens, and the family arrived while I was there, and the cops told them what happened, and you could hear the family wailing and screaming and crying, and that you have to block it out. I mean, it certainly weighs on you, and you feel awful for these families. And part of me feels awful that we have to tell these stories.
Yeah, but you got a job to do.
Right, absolutely. And and I just know, it's my duty to the community, to tell the right story, get the right information out there, and usually you just kind of have to block that stuff out to make sure that you do it correctly.
Okay. Yeah. So what is your career going to be 5 years from now?
I'll be at ESPN or Fox Sports.
Okay.
I'm proclaiming it now.
Okay.
I'm working on that.
You heard it first.
I don't have any connections yet, so if anybody knows anybody over there.
So ESPN fan?
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, like I said, growing up and watching SportsCenter, when SportsCenter got big, I think that was probably the biggest influence on me.
So, and what do you think Las Vegas is going to be like with professional sports 5 years from now? We'll have the hockey team.
We'll have the hockey team.
Will that bring anybody else?
Yeah, I think that once people see how successful the NHL is going to be, I feel firmly that it will. I think we're going to build a winning team here based on the ownership of Bill Foley and what he said. I think other leagues will see that we can put a product together that draws fans and draws excitement. And I wouldn't be surprised, and the NBA has said as much, and we've talked with Adam Silver about this, the commissioner. He has no problems with Las Vegas. Whenever the NBA is ready to expand or relocate, which may not be in 5 years, but we've already been mentioned as a city for a possible NBA franchise when the Milwaukee Bucks had a ton of drama about their stadium. This was only like a month ago. They use Las Vegas as leverage, and we're used to that now, where they mention, and they threaten to move a team to Las Vegas.
Because this is a good arena, right?
Right. The arena's going to be gorgeous, beautiful. Yeah. But 5 years, we might have it. We might have a second franchise.
Okay.
It won't be the NFL. People think that football. Football would be great in any market, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But the NFL and Las Vegas, unfortunately,
There's the stigma.
they just don't. They don't get it. And it is. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. And how's UNLV going to do this year?
I think four wins is a good season for Tony Sanchez, and I think that's saying something because their schedule's brutal.
Okay.
But there's a lot of excitement around the program, which is great. And you talk about sports and NHL, and I think the excitement's building around here. And I think if Sanchez can get even 4 wins in year 1, and build on that.
What about basketball?
This is a make or break year for Dave Rice for sure. But they've got the talent on the roster. We do know that, and they've always been able to get the talent. They've got to make the NCAA tournament for sure.
Now, what do you think of Bishop Gorman?
I think that their facilities are fantastic. They rival certainly a lot of colleges that I've seen in my career.
Yeah. But
what they've been able to do has really been phenomenal. And I know that they get criticized a lot, because the facilities are so nice and because they can draw kids from all over the valley. But I feel like that they've done it the right way, and they turn out these great athletes.
Right.
That are making names for Las Vegas.
They go on to good schools.
Right. And you think of the first name that comes to mind is Joey Gallo, who's going to be a consistent Major League Baseball player. A lot of athletes from Las Vegas are coming through Bishop Gorman, and they're going to the NBA.
Yeah.
NFL. So that's going to make Las Vegas.
Okay. See, I didn't know that part. I just knew they go to good university.
Yeah, they do, and then they go on, and then they have huge careers.
Yeah, well, that's great. Yeah. And what about Finley Prep?
Finley Prep that's a great program. You talk about worldwide notoriety. Kids from all over the world want to play at Finley Prep because of what they've been able to do and their consistency as far as competing for a national championship each year and getting the exposure. And again,
that's high school, right?
Yeah, that's high school.
So are they better than Gorman?
They play every year. They always have a yearly showdown in basketball that I think Finley has won like 7 out of 8.
Okay. But they're drawing from the whole world.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And those games are really competitive too. That's a big draw every year. They call it the Big City Showdown. And that gets our attention as sports guys to show up there.
Good. John, I have one last question because I know you're rushed for time.
Take your time. I'm ready.
Sauce or gravy?
Sauce. See, I grew up in Vegas, right? So it's sauce to me. It's not gravy.
Just checking.
Yeah, my parents will use it interchangeably.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay. Why do people say gravy?
You got me. I think
I haven't been able to get an answer yet. Nobody knows.
It's sauce.
It's one of those things.
Call meatballs balls. You call them balls.
Okay.
Right. Great way to end it, right? Yeah.
Thanks, John.
No,
this
my
was
pleasure.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.